This is how I winter nukes in the Midwest, Michigan. And put them in the windows and facing the south side. This is something I just built here in the last few weeks because I had to get the bees out of the house. Normally, the last couple of winters I've been putting them in the house, there at the window there, but the wife said no more. So anyway, I built this addition on the house and I put these nukes in the windows. Of course, I ran out of time, so I'm going to buy the windows next year. And half of these are Russian from Jason Foley, Foley's Russian bees. And I cannot recommend them because these were started in July from basically a nuke or a hive split. And they did not grow fast enough to winter with the rest of my bees out here. So let me show you how I do this. This is a bottom board that I bought. Well, the first one I bought from Better Bee. I don't know if you can see that, it's all white. Anyway, I modified it with a strip of wood here and a strip of wood in the back, and the bottom board becomes a top. So you got the bottom and a screen bottom board, and then after you're done with robbing and stuff, you can put one of these in. See, I've got them in all the hives, but when the robbing's going on, I made up my own screen entrances, cut a hole on each side some distance apart. The yellow jackets figure that out, but the other honeybees that are trying to rob can't figure that out. So anyway, this is what I do. I have a hole in the front if they get too hot, or if I need to release some bees in a hurry for some reason. I can take that out, and this is a 1-inch hole. Fuses fit in there fine. And on the back side, and I'll show you when we go inside, I have a hole screen for ventilation, another hole for pollen patty or chunks of sugar, and then for an entrance feeder. I put that right there. And I made up these. I have a video with these showing you guys these. I call them insulated fillers. It's basically the same dimensions of a frame, and it just takes up half the space in the deep, and I make a nuke out of it. And you can put a 5-frame in here, and the bees don't seem to care about this insulation. It doesn't harm them. And if you want, you could put underlayment on both sides, but I didn't find it necessary. You could put 5 frames in that, or you can put 7. And during the winter, they don't build much comb. They just basically maintain. You can put a little bit of space in there. And then in the spring, when they start growing, you're probably going to be able to put them outside, and then you can take this out. You can add, or you can put, if they didn't grow much during the winter and you're kind of concerned about them, you can downsize them, and you could keep them warm. My tops have 1 inch of foam insulation in there, so they have some insulation value. Okay, now let me take you inside and show you. Now you're going to want to put your larger colonies on the bottoms, the ones you're not worried about. But the small ones you think aren't going to make it through winter, put them on top, and then you can, I don't want to open that one, you can check them, get a real good visual, or you could take this Rayovac LED light, and then you can look in the screen, see how they're doing, or you can look underneath. And like I said, when it's warm, I put a feeder in here, in that slot there. And now also, if you get into a hive and bees get out, now Russian bees, I stuck my hand in there trying to release the queen yesterday, and immediately my hand was covered with bees and I got stung several times. And they exit the hive, come after you. Italians don't do that. But anyway, so if you get a bunch of bees out and you need to round them up, it's too cold to let them out for them to fly back into the hive. I use mason jars with a cover on one, and then I go around and I collect bees, and then I flip it upside down like that, and then I pull them out. Shake them down, quickly put a cover on it, and then I go around and do it again and again until I got all the bees rounded up. And this is actually in the hive with another cover on it, like that. And then when I get the bees all in a jar, I put it on there like that, and then I pull these out, and the bees will be in there like that. And then if they don't want to go into the hive because there's too much daylight, just put a dark rag over it, and come back in an hour or check or so and see if there's any bees in there, so that if you want to take this out, you can take this out, say, just like that. This is also another good way to check, see how your bees are doing. But anyway, let me tell you about Jason Foley. Jason Foley and his Foley's Russian bees. You know, my first order in July was alright. It was a small order. So I thought, okay, I'll order more in August. So I ordered a total of 26. 6 never made it out of the cage. Because what he does is, he packs a box full of workers versus putting the workers in the cage. I guess that takes too much time, it's too much work. So he packs a box full of workers. And what happens is during the summer when they get hot, you know, they will try to get out and they will block these screens. And what happens is they get even hotter. And what's it say on here? It says keep it room temperature, keep out of the sun, keep well ventilated. So once they block the screen, they're not well ventilated anymore, and then they get hotter, and that damages the health of the queens. Now he only insures them next day air, so I did next day air, and he knows very well what he's doing. He knows not very many queens are going to die within 24 hours. So he wants you to put these in the hive, and I checked them the next day, and he says, oh, you shouldn't be checking them. That's just bull. I check my queens all the time, and it doesn't interfere with what's going on. He just doesn't want you to know that those queens are dying because they got too hot. So anyway, out of 26 queens, 6 of them never made it out of the cage. And then within the next few days, a week, 2 weeks, they were all dead. And that screwed up what I was trying to do in August, because I took Italian queens out of colonies, thinking I was going to have some Russian queens start laying in August, mid-August, and what happened was the queens died and the workers made queen cells. So I split some colonies, and I thought, okay, it's still August, we'll see what happens. And I let some of the queen cells go, and I got very few queens. But anyway, I did end up putting the Italian queens that I pulled out put them in nucs, and I put them back in the hives. But here we are by Labor Day. I didn't have any growth out of those colonies. They lost the whole month. So that's why some of them ended up in here. So, and now if it's warm enough outside and you're messing with the bees, you know, as long as you're facing the south here, you can open these doors up and the bees will fly out. And you don't have to chase them around. But during the winter, when it's really, really cold, you have to round them up. I call it a bee roundup. Now you don't want to do this anywhere but on the south side of the house, because what happens is, if these bees were on the east side, the sun would come up in the morning and it'd be all nice. So they go flying around, and all of a sudden they're in the shade, and they get cold and they just drop. They drop down to the ground. So that's why if it's on the south side, see, the sun is up, it goes, and then bees know, hey, it's going down, let's get back in the hive. And you don't lose any bees that way. So all this talk about winter kill and bees on the ground, they probably got cold when they were flying around, out pottying and just flying to have fun. So don't put your bees anywhere than on the south side of a building, preferably a building where it's blocked from the wind. And see, I have a roof over all my bees. Eventually, when I have too many, I don't know if I'm going to build more roofs or just maintain a certain number, because I found out you have to powder your bees once a week in the fall to get the mites out. If you don't do that once a week, the mites are going to take your bees during the winter. I had too many colonies and didn't do it as much as I should have, but now I figured out, and thanks to scientificbeekeeper.com, I got that information on there. He did a graph and he shows you if you do it once a week it's effective, if you don't do it once a week it's not effective. So anyway, sorry for taking so much of your time. Don't buy any queens from Foley's Russian bees, because you know, you buy queens from a dealer, he knows he's harming those queens, but he knows after 24 hours you pay for him. He's not going to insure them after 24 hours. So he knows what he's doing. Don't buy any queens from him, because I've lost a lot of money, over $1,000, you know, with him. So don't buy his bees. Thank you.